After police advanced toward protesters, firing tear gas and water cannon, demonstrators fled to surrounding areas, but it's not over yet. Thousands of protesters are gathering down the street from one of the entrances to Taksim Square. CNN senior international correspondent Arwa Damon is in Istanbul with the latest. Oh, what's happening where you are?
We are on Istiklal Street. It runs right off of Taksim Square, normally a very busy commercial district. It's been the scene of some pretty intense back and forth between the riot police and the demonstrators. Just an hour ago, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people that were on this street. They managed to push all the way up, making a makeshift barricade. You can still see it in the distance. It's still burning a little bit. They set that on fire. They're trying to use another barricade to push even further forward, and then once again the riot police came down, pushed them back using a water cannon, tear gas as well. What happens is that once the crowd gathers here, when they get pushed back, they end up darting down the various different small alleyways that exist here, and that's been going on pretty much ever since the security forces, the riot police, went into the camp itself. People here are saying that they might have gotten pushed out of Gezi Park, but this is not over, Finola.
Strong police presence this evening. What about the numbers of protesters? Have they dwindled since the police arrived on the scene tonight?
Well, they most certainly, obviously, are not in the park. They're not in Taksim Square itself. From our reporting here over the past few hours, they do tend to, once the riot police come down the street, go into the various side streets and then hide there or hide inside the different buildings. It's very hard to tell exactly how many people are out on the streets right now, because we're hearing various reports that people are gathering in other parts of Istanbul as well. But as I was saying, at one point there were thousands of people that were on Istiklal Street just around an hour ago, right before the riot police came down, once again sweeping them all away. People are incredibly angry, not just because of the way that the government has decided to deal with the Gezi Park demonstration, but they say because of these long-standing grievances and issues that they have. A lot of people also taken by surprise that the riot police went into the camp tonight. Many were anticipating that it would happen Sunday, maybe Monday morning. It took them completely by surprise, Finola.
Although we heard from the Prime Minister today, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, saying that he wanted the demonstrators to leave now and that the police would force them. Is how much of what is taking place tonight with the police in Istanbul dependent on the reputation of the Turkish Prime Minister if the crowds aren't cleared for good now?
Well, that most certainly is at stake, and it has become something of a big issue. The Prime Minister needs to be able to save face to a certain degree. He needs to be able to at least show that he can control his own population. Turkey's global image has been tarnished by this. That's completely unavoidable. But at the same time, people are saying that the way he's handled this, his tone of voice when addressing individuals, protesters, his opponents, find it incredibly condescending, and this is part of the long-standing issues that they've been having with him. They feel as if he's chosen to go in and deal with this with a heavy hand instead of trying to actually negotiate, speak to these protesters, listen to them, take them seriously, and take their demands into consideration. Finola, this issue, even though Gezi Park might have been clear, the issues that people have with this government, they're long-standing. And yes, we're seeing the Gezi Park demonstrations playing out in the international spotlight, but this is as a result of years of anger and frustration with the way that Prime Minister Erdogan is actually governing, Finola.
All right, thanks very much. Arwa Damon there, just